Welcome to Reds Focus LFC fans.
Liverpool fans, you won't believe the big decisions Klopp is making for Sunderland. Will Salah and Isak start? Plus, the latest on Bellingham, surprise scouting missions, and a transfer twist involving Diomande. Stay tuned because we're breaking it all down right now. Liverpool lineups for Sunderland as huge Mohamed Salah and Alexander Isak calls made. Liverpool entertains Sunderland in the Premier League on Wednesday night, and we've asked our writers to pick the Reds' 11 they'd choose. After emerging from Sunday's trip to West Ham with a much-needed 3 points, Liverpool returned to Anfield on Wednesday night, knowing that they'll need to back up that victory if any idea that a corner has been turned is to have any value. However, the Reds headed to East London off the back to successive home defeats to Nottingham Forest and PSV Eindhoven by an aggregate score of 7-1. And so there is sure to be a feeling of trepidation among some supporters who make their way to L4. Add to that the displays of Wednesday's opponents, Sunderland, who come into the game 1 point ahead of the Reds in the table after arriving into the Premier League like a breath of fresh air this season. How should Arne Slot line the Reds up for the challenge ahead then? Our Echo writers have their say. Ian Doyle. Liverpool are playing again this evening, and, as you may have noticed, they actually won last time out. Sunderland are the visitors to Anfield in the Premier League, with Arne Slot facing a number of head-scratchers regards team selection. What then is the Reds' boss to do? I'd be limiting the changes from the start, but in the knowledge a number of players can make an impact from the bench. In goal, it remains Alisson Becker, however, and Joe Gomez can most definitely continue at right back. Center backs are still Ibrahima Konate alongside skipper Virgil van Dijk, but I'd have Andy Robertson in at left back for this one. Ryan Gravenberch can be joined by Dominique Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, and Florian Wirtz can see what he can do in the number 10 role again. Up top, Hugo Ekitike is back in down the center, with Mohamed Salah returning on the right and Cody Gakpo on the left. My team, 4-2-3-1, Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike. Paul Gorst. The second of 3 games in 6 days might see 1 or 2 tweaks for Arne Slot's Liverpool lineup tonight, but given the recent form of the Reds, the head coach is not in a position where he can make too many alterations to a side still finding its confidence. In an ideal world, a visit from a promoted side for a midweek night might be the opportunity to rest and rotate, safe in the knowledge that the squad has the quality to get the job done. But Sunderland have been superb this season, and Liverpool have lost their last 2 games at Anfield by a scoreline of 7-1. So nothing can be taken for granted here. As a result, I'm asking Joe Gomez to go to the well once more after his excellent return to a Premier League lineup at West Ham United. His last 2 league starts came 11 months apart and were both at the London Stadium. So let's see if the long-serving and versatile defender can excel at right back once more back at Anfield. Given the demands over the next month or so, this is an ideal one for Andy Robertson to return for Milos. In midfield, I am going to give Alexis McAllister a rest in place of Curtis Jones. Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai keep their places, and Florian Wirtz starts off the left and is encouraged to roam in central areas to wreak havoc. It would be great to see the German playmaker build on Sunday's performance. Again, with thoughts of the fixture list dominating, Alexander Isak is rested for Hugo Ekitike, and there's a start for Mohamed Salah too. I get the idea of Isak's confidence rising after his goal at West Ham, but it would be risky to throw him back in tonight. He can rest up for Leeds United and is an option off the bench also. My team, 4-2-3-1, Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Ekitike. Theo Squires. For the first time in his entire Liverpool career, Mohamed Salah's previously untouchable starting status is at question. The Reds were improved as the Egyptian watched on against West Ham as they returned to winning ways. It would be a bold call to name him on the substitutions bench again, but with Sunderland the visitors to Anfield, it is not one I am prepared to make. They are having a great season, but surely Arne Slot can find a way to get one of his star forwards into the game for this one. Besides, for all the talk about his defensive work rate this season, let's see how he gets on with a more natural defender in Joe Gomez behind him. Alexis McAllister can drop to the bench to make way for the Egyptian, with Dominic Szoboszlai moving into midfield to partner Ryan Gravenberch. Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz can continue through the middle. There have been promising glimpses from their partnership, and we've not seen enough of it so far. I would make one further change, though, with Andy Robertson coming in at left back. Slot keeps warning us how much Milos Kerkez is needing to adjust to the increased workload at Anfield, so it makes sense to rotate for this latest midweek encounter after he was forced off with cramp in the capital. My team, 4-2-3-1, Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Ekitike. Mark Jones. It feels as though we've been waiting for momentum from Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak all season, so after a good performance and a goal respectively at West Ham, I'd keep them in the team here then. That obviously has a knock-on effect elsewhere though, but we'll come to that. First, Alisson stays in goal, and I'd pick the same back four as the one that featured at West Ham. I did consider bringing Andy Robertson in, but the momentum argument is also true for Milos Kerkez, and he played well at the weekend. Plus, Leeds might be a game for Robertson, so I'd have an eye on that. Ryan Gravenberch can be joined by Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, and then a fired-up Mohamed Salah comes back into the side on the right with Cody Gakpo on the left. And then it's over to Wirtz and Isak to try and replicate what they produced in East London. A fine performance from the German, a goal or two from the Swede, and hopefully everyone goes home happy. My team, 4-2-3-1, Alisson, Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Kerkez, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Salah, Wirtz, Isak.
Jurgen Klopp and Jamie Carragher in disagreement over future Liverpool manager. Jamie Carragher dismissed Jurgen Klopp's claims of Liverpool's managerial future. Jamie Carragher has cast doubt on Jurgen Klopp's prediction that Steven Gerrard would one day take charge at Liverpool. Speculation about the legendary Reds midfielder returning to Anfield as manager has swirled ever since he embarked on his coaching career. Following a remarkable spell north of the border, where he steered Rangers to an invincible league championship in 2021, Gerrard made the switch to Aston Villa later that same year. Before his inaugural visit back to Liverpool under Klopp's stewardship, the German was asked whether he envisaged the England icon occupying the Anfield hot seat one day. Klopp responded emphatically, "Oh yes, I do. Absolutely. I believe it will definitely happen. Good for everyone." Fast forward 4 years from Klopp's prediction, and talk of Gerrard heading back to Liverpool has resurfaced following a woeful opening to the campaign under Arne Slot. Liverpool's 2-0 triumph over West Ham on Sunday halted their recent slump, with Carragher suggesting that if the Dutchman were to be dismissed, his old club would face a nightmare scenario in the hunt for a successor, given the current shortage of top managers. On the overlap fan debate, the Sky Sports analyst said, "I felt like Liverpool playing West Ham was the toughest of those current run of games because of the nature of the opposition. They are a team that have been in the bottom three all season, a promoted team in Sunderland, and Leeds are another promoted team who are in the bottom three. It feels like if you don't get results in those, where do you go?" The idea of Liverpool changing the manager who won the league, Liverpool have never done that. Then who do you get? The idea of an interim manager just feels like who and how. When pressed on speculation linking Gerrard with the role, Carragher poured cold water on the suggestions and insisted Anfield supporters are firmly behind Slot rather than calling for Gerrard's return. "No, I wouldn't imagine," Carragher responded. "He's been a manager at Villa and had great success at Rangers as well. He's a legendary figure, and he's back, floating down Liverpool. I don't think most Liverpool fans will be screaming for Steven Gerrard. Everyone is desperate for it to work for Arne Slot. They're on such a bad run. The flip side of that is then how long does it carry on?" Despite enduring 6 league losses this campaign, the Reds have the opportunity to draw level on points with 4th-placed Villa should they overcome Sunderland at Anfield on Wednesday evening.
Liverpool scouting mission confirmed as Wonderkid striker scores 2.
Liverpool scouts are on a mission, and they're looking at one of Europe's most in-demand strikers. January is right around the corner. There's officially under a month until the winter transfer window opens, and Liverpool's preparations are well underway. But what exactly should they be on the lookout for? The Reds have had a torrid few months, and while the 2-0 win over West Ham United was a welcome one, it's going to take a lot more than that to get the season back on track. It makes this upcoming window an important one, even if it wasn't supposed to be. Liverpool almost certainly didn't want to do any business in January. They spent over £400 million in the summer after all, and felt they'd built a squad. The only hiccup was the Mark Guehi deal, which collapsed right at the last minute. Perhaps that could be kick-started again in the winter, but other than that, Liverpool hoped they had everything right. Of course, they absolutely have not had everything right. The summer overhaul didn't fix a lot of the problems, and Liverpool need to continue down the path. It's why scouting missions are so interesting right now. The Reds are looking for the right signings, as it's more important than ever that they find them. Liverpool scout Midtjylland. Liverpool scouts were in attendance this weekend for Midtjylland's 6-0 win over Noordsjylland. That's according to Incast, who also say Bayern Munich had scouts there. As for who they were specifically getting a closer look at, we're not sure. That can only be speculated on, but there are certainly a couple of names we can be confident on. One of those is Dario Osorio, a Chilean right-winger, who is consistently linked with Liverpool across 2024. Osorio is now a regular for Chile, while he helped Midtjylland win the Danish Superliga last season. Now, Osorio certainly isn't as prolific as you'd want for a new forward, just the 3 league goals last season, but at 21, he's a massive talent, and one who would be picked up relatively cheap. One player who certainly is prolific enough to catch the eye, though, is Frankulo Jude. Jude scored 11 times in the league last season and turned 21 in the summer. This season, though, has been something else. The striker who hails from Guinea-Bissau has 16 league goals in 16 games this season. You can add 3 assists to that, too. It's been a remarkable season, and Jude even bagged 2 in front of the scouts at the weekend. If they weren't looking at him before the scouting mission, they certainly are now.
Liverpool transfer latest as Jude Bellingham's swap plan emerges. Liverpool transfer rumors continue to intensify, with Mohamed Salah's future under scrutiny and reports linking Jude Bellingham with a potential move to Anfield involving Alexis Mac Allister. With less than a month until Liverpool can re-enter the transfer market, Jude Bellingham's name is being linked with Anfield. This follows the England star's struggles with form at Real Madrid. Such a major transfer would normally be impossible during most winter windows, but whispers of Liverpool's interest are mounting ahead of the summer. And one high-profile player under Arne Slot could potentially be used as leverage to tempt Real into parting with Bellingham. Recent weeks have also witnessed growing speculation surrounding Mohamed Salah, who has reportedly been given a very clear message from Liverpool. Here are the latest developments at Anfield this week, as rumors gather pace ahead of a busy 2026. Bellingham-Liverpool swap deal. Despite his recent dip in form at the Bernabeu, Bellingham remains one of the most valuable assets currently on Real's books. However, that hasn't prevented some sections of the Madrid press from targeting the Englishman. As a pivotal figure in Xabi Alonso's squad, Bellingham has encountered the same pressures that other British imports have faced in Spain. And with that comes the predictable knee-jerk reaction suggesting the struggling star could be heading for the exit. Real recently lost their hold on the top spot in La Liga after a string of 3 domestic draws. Naturally, some of the blame for this slip to second place falls on Bellingham, although any speculation about a transfer is certainly premature. However, Defensa Central has suggested that a move to Liverpool could be in the pipeline as soon as next summer. The story implies that the Reds are keen to take advantage of Bellingham's recent slump by making a bid for him, potentially including Alexis Mac Allister in the deal. Real Madrid have been associated with Mac Allister for some time and are reportedly big fans of the World Cup winner. As such, Liverpool might consider letting him go in a swap deal with Real. Given the disparity in their most recent transfer fees, it's likely that Liverpool would need to add a significant cash amount alongside McAllister to secure Bellingham. The Argentinian has 2.5 years remaining on his contract at Liverpool, while Bellingham's agreement with Real doesn't expire until 2029, suggesting there may not be much substance to the rumors. Liverpool very clear on Salah. Speculation is once more building around the future of Salah, who remained an unused substitute during Liverpool's 2-0 triumph over West Ham on Sunday. The Egyptian watched from the sidelines as Liverpool halted their recent losing streak without his involvement, courtesy of goals from Alexander Isak, his first Premier League strike for the Reds, and Cody Gakpo, reports the Liverpool Echo. This surprising development has reignited rumors connecting Salah with an exit from Anfield. Reports of interest from Saudi Arabia have re-emerged just months after he reportedly turned down lucrative offers to pen a new 2-year deal on Merseyside. However, transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano has reassured fans that the Liverpool management has sent a very clear message regarding the forward's future. The position is that no player will be judged on recent underwhelming displays, with few under Slott's stewardship avoiding criticism for their role in this decline. Regardless, Salah is set for a respite from the Liverpool spotlight as he links up with Egypt this month for the Africa Cup of Nations. Only once the winger returns from the tournament will fans gain a clearer picture of Slott's plans for the player this season. The 4-time Premier League Golden Boot winner deserves a proper send-off in acknowledgement of his legacy, having been pivotal to Liverpool's title triumphs in recent years. However, the second half of the campaign will seemingly prove crucial in determining whether he departs on his own terms.
Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur want RB Leipzig midfielder Yan Diomande. Liverpool are in advanced talks with representatives of RB Leipzig attacking midfielder Yan Diomande, according to Sky Sports Switzerland journalist Sacha Tavolieri. Liverpool manager Arne Slot is desperate to rebuild his attack at the Anfield club, and the 19-year-old Ivory Coast international is on his radar. The Reds are in very advanced talks with the entourage of Diomande, but they will face competition from Tottenham Hotspur. Liverpool could do with a boost in the final third following their struggles this term, and they see the Leipzig star as a serious option to bring much-needed energy and flair to the attack. However, the Bundesliga club want €100 million from suitors next summer, and whether the Merseyside club are ready to splash the cash on a teenager unproven in the Premier League remains to be seen. Mohamed Salah has lost his form this term, and selling Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich during the last summer transfer window is starting to look like a mistake. Diomande is primarily a left winger, but he can also feature on the right and through the middle, and he has 4 goals and 4 assists in 14 games this term. The Liverpool target notched just 2 goals and 1 assist in 10 La Liga appearances for Leganes last term, prompting Leipzig to trigger his €20 million release clause. His huge potential cannot be denied. With his explosiveness, pace, and dribbling qualities, the Reds could do with in an attacker as they start preparing for life without Salah. The 33-year-old has scored 5 goals and weighed in with 3 assists in 17 games across the Champions League and Premier League this term. However, Slot was forced to drop him against West Ham United last weekend after a recent dip in form, and Liverpool could be open to selling him at the end of the season if he keeps struggling.